Welcome back to Hot Wheels Hilarity Season 7. Right now, it is December 16th of 2022, and I do have myself some pretty interesting stuff to showcase right in this very moment. Because while I was out doing my daily routine to ensure that I got a good amount of ideas to last throughout the rest of the season, I managed to come across a few unique pieces that could allow me to get a good idea out for the channel. What I'm currently holding in my hands are not Hot Wheels, but actually a good series of competitors, including the likes of Matchbox, which, as you probably know, has also been acquired by Mattel in addition to Hot Wheels, and so two different die-cast companies at once. But then there's also another one known as Maisto. You're probably very familiar with that as opposed to the others. So the thing is, when it comes to competitors, Mattel's had plenty of them, especially in more recent years. So what I'm going to be doing here today is I'm going to be putting these different models to the test. I managed to buy a few here along with an actual Hot Wheels model just to basically keep it fresh and also to give this a nice fair play. Because what I'll be doing here is putting each of these competitors' models through series of rigorous tests. Plenty of rigorous tests to go with. And so, let's basically showcase each of these models, starting with a Hot Wheels model right here known as Rocket Box. Next up is a Matchbox model known as Push and Polar, which I was able to get from a dollar store, alongside another competitor simply called the Slayer, part of the Fresh Metals series, which is apparently age geared to people 3 and above. So, onwards with the series of tests that I plan on putting these through. Each and every single one of these tests are going to be done in different ways. First off, we have the launcher. Then we have a 180-degree curve. Then a kicker loop. Then a booster, and then finally a large piece of the Track Builder Unlimited series. Each of these tests are going to showcase what kind of performance we can get from these different competitors. And I could sure tell you, it might not be necessarily proficient in all ways, but we're just going to have to find out for sure. Can any of these do better than Mattel's own Hot Wheels? Let's go ahead and find out. Before we do anything though, we're gonna have to get these out of their original packaging. So that's basically what's gonna be done right at this very moment. I can already tell from some people out there that this is in fact an ingenious idea that I probably could have come up with a rather long time ago. To tell you the truth though, I feel like I could have done that just by myself. But I suppose right now would be at least a great time to tackle on this exact subject. And now we are ready to begin our tests, starting with the launcher. As you can see, this is simply the basic launcher, which does come standard with several different Track Builder Unlimited stunt kits, and works simply by pushing this yellow piece until it clicks into one of several different notches. It's operated by the usage of a pretty tough elastic rubber band, and basically requires only a little bit of pressure to depress the notches and launch the car forward. So the test will mostly circumnavigate whether these models can actually work well with this launcher, but will for the most part be about making it all the way to the very end. This white piece is normally a starting block, but can also be used effectively as an ending block. So, let's just simply get it done here. We're going to start off with Rocket Box, basically the Hot Wheels model, just to establish a good control group. Exactly how is Rocket Box going to do well? Mostly just depends on how the model is designed, and also what kind of piece you're using to put it in. So let's just establish our control by launching Rocketbox straight forward. Well, as you can see, full power just made Rocketbox slide on the rails out of control and went to the wall. Which I guess is necessary, no matter how you look at it. Next up, we got the others. Push and Puller is going to be leading off. Of course, another thing is to try to be careful when operating on elevation, because it does seem that is exactly the problem here. Just got to hold it in place, it seems. Well, that actually managed to stay on the track just fine, but like Rocketbox, it flew over the edge. So we'll just leave that there for now, but Slayer is going to be up next. Well, that one actually did much better. In conclusion, there basically just isn't really much of a difference here. Rocketbox was going full speed, slid on the rail, and, well, managed to fly over the edge. Then we got Push and Puller over here, which did the same thing, except it stayed on the track for the most part, so it did a bit better than Rocketbox. Slayer is pretty much the victor in this round, or test, as I should probably just refer to this more properly. But now let's move on to the next one. For test number 2, what we're going to do is pull out this 180-degree curve, which came standard with the stackable booster kit, mostly as an exclusive piece. But no matter which way you look at it, you can build 180-degree curves yourself, using various curve packs or in any possible shape that you can put together. But in this case, it's all just going to be about how these models interact with the curve in general. Now, I'm sure that because of different designs and different things and features, they're all going to perform differently. I could morally expect longer ones to probably drag on them because of how sharp this exact version of a curve is. Nevertheless, though, let's just get to testing. So, Rocketbox, or time to redo that one because that wasn't very hard. There we go. Push and Puller. Well, it definitely whipped around it, which could probably mean trouble down the line. Then finally, here's Slayer. Oh, that looks like it slowed down a bit. Let's redo just to be safe. Yeah. Kind of scraped on it a bit because it's a lot longer than the other two. For the most part, all three of them handled this exact curve pretty well. But like with the launcher test, they all performed differently, which is pretty much what I've expected from the very beginning. But let's see how the third test really puts them all. Now with test number 3, we're definitely going to get a little serious here. This is going to be a simple kicker loop test. Just as we might expect, some things can be different from others, but we're going to have to see for sure how a Hot Wheels model, as well as some competitors in the die-cast car industry, are all pretty much going to perform with this exact loop in general. Now, like with the launcher, this does have a piece that needs to be manually reset. So, a manual reset of the yellow piece here, which is the kicker, pushes the vehicle through the loop and then out straight. Let's start off once again with Rocketbox. And there you go. That's basically a success. And also plop on the floor. I'll get that later, but now time for Push and Puller from the Matchbox line. About the same, which is pretty good. And then we have Slayer from the Maisto line. Well, a bit slower than the rest, but still pretty decent. After getting Rocketbox off the floor, I can conclude that while Matchbox and Hot Wheels seem to do well, respectively, within the kicker loop, it seems that Maisto, this time, seems to be falling behind. It just kind of dragged throughout the whole length of the loop, mostly because it was a lot longer, and also because of one defining feature that can kind of hurt it really badly when going through loops. A low front end, otherwise known as a splitter. But for the most part, I can say, so far, they're all handling the test pretty well. But let's get even more crazy. In case you thought I was kidding around, I'm not. Here we have a booster from the Track Builder Unlimited series. This one, in fact, is pretty incredible for what it is. Not entirely powerful, by all means, but still enough to get it to where I want it to be. Like with the other tests, we're going to see how well each of them perform, but I can expect some things to be different here and there. And with that in mind, let's see how this works. Unlike with some other pieces, we don't have to manually reset anything. This booster can fully rev itself up all on its own. So let's turn it on and see how it works. Rocket box goes first. It went through smoothly. Push and puller. Also did pretty well, but landed on the floor. Finally, Slayer. Well, full-on proficiency. So I'd say that was pretty awesome. A nice proficiency of 100% for all three of these vehicles. They all managed to get through from one side to the other perfectly fine without any sort of trouble. But now it's time for the greatest challenge of them all. Well, I've managed to reset everything and get a new piece built. Oh yeah, here we have ourselves the double corkscrew or the double helix, or I'm not entirely familiar with the full-on name that this exact model is, but this is in fact a full-on stunt kit from the Unlimited series in the Track Builder lineup. We're going to be putting these three models through this, and I can guarantee it's going to be pretty darn epic. Personally speaking, I do feel that the starting point right there might need some kind of boost in order to get through something that's this big, and so that's where this is going to come in. Hopefully it actually works, but I can't entirely tell for sure how well it's going to do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and just see how well that this actually works. Just like with all the other tests, let's start off with the actual Hot Wheels model. Rocket box. Oh, okay. That wasn't very good. So let's try redoing on that. Well, inconclusive so far. But we'll just go on to the other competitors first just to be safe. And so, push and puller is going to go next. Also not very good with this either. Oh, could have made it. But I guess just one last try shouldn't hurt anybody, right? Oh, you know what? I'll just let that be for now. Maisto's Slayer is going to be taking the spot next. Okay. Obviously, could not handle the force that well. I really feel like something's wrong here. You know what? I got a feeling it might be this. We're going to do something a little different here, though. Let's try and send this one in backwards. how are they constantly ending up in certain positions other than straight up? Makes no sense. I'll just call it. You might not really be expecting much out of this, but after all that I've attempted to do here, I could consider this one a 100% fail. So, 5 tests, 4 of which were good, in most ways at least. This one was an absolute flop. Now, in conclusion, when it comes to the models in general, one Hot Wheels model does well in its own way. A Matchbox model, though, compared to Hot Wheels, I feel like that Matchbox could probably at least be a worthy competitor in most ways. Then again, since both of them have been acquired by Mattel, it's quite hard to picture them actually being like brother and sister. And for mice, though, I could see something similar happening, but not quite enough to be able to tackle on anything that Mattel has made. Being the top-end consumer with die-cast models, 1/64 scale, of course, Mattel has in fact been the undisputed king for more than 50 years. And being that they've come this far, multi-billion-dollar toy company like them, there's just nothing relative to rivalry between the companies. Mattel has been winning for a long time, and I don't see any sign of them stopping. And that, my friends, is basically how you can tell the difference between a Mattel model and any other kind of die-cast model that could be made by any other company. But this is mostly just a sampling piece of what could be to come between these different companies. There's a likelihood that I might put them through even bigger tests than just this, like putting them through an entire layout that could be Hot Wheels Hilarity worthy by any means. But until anything like that does happen, though, consider this to be just an appetizer for what could be coming soon. And I do have plenty of other stuff to get to anyways, and so, once again, this is quite honestly not over yet. But make sure to like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side if you'd like to see more happen on my channel.